Champions Cup Saturday games. There's only 2 days of Champions Cup this final round of the group stage. They have to play the teams at the same time for these final games, so there's no shenanigans if there were ever teams that could potentially go through if a certain result was on the card. So, yeah, at the same time, and then on Sunday, there's two more groups running at the same time, which is Monday over here in New Zealand. This is kind of an interesting one because all of these games have something to play for at least one of the teams, and nothing to play for all of the others. So, yeah, there's a fair few, you might call them B teams, being sent out this week, but yeah, the teams who are the favourites or who are sending out stronger teams will still have to go out there and do a job. Start with the first one, which is Northampton against Lyon. So Lyon's already out. 1 win and 4 losses. They're already done. Northampton with 3 wins and 2 losses. They kind of struggled over Benetton last week, and Chris Boyd was pretty unhappy with the performance levels. He's made 10 changes. Lyon's made 9. Northampton, in all likelihood for this one, need to get a bonus point win and hope that some of the other teams on similar points to them, I think it's like Saracens and maybe Gloucester, they need to not get results. So, yeah, all Northampton can do is go out there and try and get a bonus point win and see if they can, do the bit on their end, and then just wait and see if things kind of fall into play. In terms of the lineups, I noticed that Natai and Tui Silva are playing for Lyon, so that's kind of good news. Nakatathi is there. They've interestingly still got Lombe on the bench, despite the fact that he made a ton of tackles last week. Gill's at number 8 for them. For Northampton, it's a pretty strong-looking squad. Waller, Haywood, Franks, front row. Laws is there in the second row. Ludlam's there. Harrison's at number 8. Bigger is playing 10. Reinach's at 9. Yeah, you get the feeling that Chris Boyd would certainly like them to go out and improve their performance over last week, get that bonus point when they're looking for, and yeah, just see where the cards fall. In terms of the bookies, they've got Northampton winning this one, but close, only by 1. Whereas Rugby Forecast, the algorithm, has got Lyon by 6. I guess it's that home advantage, but I think you probably bump up Northampton a little bit by the fact that they actually have something to play for. So Lyon kind of already checked out, but still, last game at home, they still want to do something for their fans, and it's kind of nice to play spoiler to another team. That's something to play for, whether the other team likes it or not. The next one, which is Benetton against Leinster. Leinster's already qualified. Benetton's already definitely out. I guess there's kind of 2 things going at the moment for Leinster. It's the fact that they're on an amazing run. Would like to continue that. They'd like to go through the group stages with a perfect record. But also, I think if they win, not even a bonus point, just a win guarantees them the top seeding. So looking forward to the knockout stages, which they were going to be a part of. It's only helpful to be the top seed, guarantee yourself, home advantage going into the knockout stages. So, yeah, they've still got to go and do a job over there in Italy. When they played earlier in the year, it was 33-19 to Leinster, so relatively comfortable. From that one, I remember Benetton played actually pretty well, but over the course of the 80, Leinster were just too good, which is often the way when you play Leinster. I look at Benetton's team, though. It's not a bad team. They're not rolling over. Zani Fiver and Ferrari in the front row. Fiver has been in really good form in the Champions Cup. They've got Bram Steyn in the back row. They've got Cibaldi and Irishman Keatley playing 10, so he'll be motivated to try and play spoiler. Esposito, Morosi, Zanom, Monty Ioane, Jaden Hayward, all those guys are in the back, so it's a pretty good looking Benetton team. But that being said, Leinster's team's also looking rather stacked, especially when you look at all those guys who were named in the Irish squad recently. Healy, Cronin, Porter front row, Toner, James Ryan's back fit, so that's good. In second row, Deegan van der Vlier and Doris in the back row. So a couple of guys there who've been named. McGrath, Ross Byrne, James Lowe, Henshaw, Ringrose, Carney, and Jordan Lama. Leinster want to get 6 from 6. That much is kind of obvious, and they are well favoured to do it. Rugby Forecast got them by 18. The bookies have got them by 16. Chris Boyd mentioned last week that Benetton kind of managed to suck them into a game that they didn't want to be playing. This is Northampton. I'm not sure whether Benetton will be able to do that to Leinster, but they'll certainly be trying. So Leinster need to do their thing and let that result come. But we'll wait and see how that one goes. The next one, Harlequins up against Clermont. So Quins are already out. 2 wins and 3 losses. Clermont are qualified, but there's still a whole bunch of places they can finish up depending on how these final results go. They need to win to keep themselves as high as possible in the seedings, basically. And with Ulster playing Bath, they could potentially go through as the second qualifier if Ulster win and Clermont lose. So they need to go out and get a win, put themselves as high as they can. And they seem to have picked a team for that purpose, whereas Harlequins, with nothing really on the cards here, and a big focus on the Premiership, have largely, picked a squad which is giving some key guys a rest. But, I mean, some of the key guys are still playing. Dombrand, who's just signed a new contract, is playing number 8. So he's been exciting to watch all year. Marla has been class, but Sinclair's on the bench. Landaho gets a start at 9. Herons at 10. Penny Northmore in the midfield. Chisholm and Murley on the wings. Morris at fullback. Thavabati is still there in the second row. For Clermont, though, yeah, it's a team picked to go out and win. Fogu, Ulugia, Slimani front row. Tamani, Vaha, Mahina, Fisher, Lapondri and Aturia, so there's a fair few internationals there. Para and Lopez at 9 and 10. Nakalevu and Toeava in the midfield, so there's no George Moala this week, but Raka, Peno on the wings, that's dangerous. A Benton on fullback. Yeah, you can kind of tell from the lineups that Clermont are favourites, despite the fact that Harlequins are at home. So Clermont by 3 is what Rugby Forecast has got on the kind of historical data, using that for the algorithm. But the bookies, perhaps looking at the lineups, say Clermont by 15, so much more comfortable favourites. The last time they played over in France, it was Clermont 53, Harlequins 21. So I remember that game just being not a whole lot of defence. Both teams were just kind of cutting each other to bits, so it was, 70 plus points. It was a fun one to watch. But probably didn't do the defence coaches of either team, much in the way of having a good time. But anyway, it was still fun for a neutral. The next one, which is Bath against Ulster, and I should say before I get onto the game, I got a package the other day from Tim and his son Kobe. They sent me, I think there's six Bath flags. So this is awesome. There's enough, because there's so many. Bath, even though Bath aren't having the best run in the Champions Cup, there's enough here that I can probably stitch these together to make another mega flag, basically. So yeah, Bath, man. Cheers, guys, Kobe and Tim, for sending these through all the way from the UK down to here, little old New Zealand. It takes a while to get here, but it did get here at the end, so thank you guys for that. I tend to do that with the other flags that I've got, like that blues one over here is just a bunch of flags stitched together, so I'll see if I can do that, represent Bath for a bit. But yeah, Bath's run has not been that good. In the Champions Cup, they're none from 5. Looking like Tim actually mentioned, to go for a perfect record of 6 losses. The opposite of what Leinster are doing. Ulster have been a real force in the Champions Cup this year, just dropping the one game, and they've been managing to get results just game management, man, and like playing under pressure. It's those games when you are close and you need a big play to get it done. Those are kind of the true tests of the players, and the Ulster guys have really been stepping up, especially Cooney, but the rest of the squad as well. They played last, I think it was the opening round. It was Ulster 17, Bath 16, so Ulster managed to just pip them in that one. Now that Ulster are back home, they will be looking to get as big a win as they can get, because, like I said, depending on what happens in this game, which will be on at the same time, there's still every chance that Ulster goes through as top qualifier, but it's out of their own hands. So we'll wait and see. They'll still want to put themselves as high as they can. Ulster's squad looks pretty settled. McGrath, Herring, O'Toole, front row. I think Marty Moore is out, though. O'Connor, Henderson, Reedy, Murphy, Coetzee. It's a pretty good looking forward pack. Cooney and Billy Burns, who both got Ireland call-ups in the last couple of days. McCloskey, who missed out on Ireland call-up, will have a point to prove in this game. Marshall, Balakoon, who's in that wider training squad for Ireland. Stockdale and Addison. So they are looking to obviously finish as high as they can. Bath, on the other hand, it's kind of a rotated squad. Again, you're kind of not surprised by that. 8 changes. There's no Jonathan Joseph for this one. Sam Underhill's playing 7. Charlie Ewells is captain from the second row. Freddie Burns is playing 10, so that'll be interesting to see him up against his brother. McConaughey's on the wing. Homer's at fullback, but yeah, it's a rotated squad, and I guess partly due to that, Ulster are pretty heavy favourites. 16 points with Rugby Forecast, and then a step up with the bookies, 23 points. Again, potentially looking at the squads, it's no real surprise that these teams who are out don't risk the big guns, but that's just the way it is. I'm not sure what the solution to that would be, but yeah, that is what it is. So we'll see how that game goes. Ulster still got to go there and do a job. They can't afford to relax, and some of the Bath guys who may be getting rotated in, again, have their own points to prove. So yeah, it should be a bit of a fun one to watch. The final two, we've got Exeter and La Rochelle. Again, Exeter are through. They haven't lost the game. They did draw that one game with Glasgow. They beat La Rochelle 31-12 over in France earlier in the year. So that was pretty comfortable. La Rochelle perhaps a bit disappointing. But yeah, they've got one last chance to throw the dice. Again, looking at their lineup, there's a few changes, but interestingly, Rates is back for them. He was on the bench. Not on the bench. He was out of the squad last time. I remember the cameraman doing a bit of focusing on him in that last game. But Exeter, it's really pleasing to see them do as well as they've done in the Champions Cup this year. Sure, that last result was a draw, but they have kind of looked like that powerhouse team that they are in the Premiership, and they've been putting that through into the Champions Cup. So how far they can go will be an interesting one. They need to qualify as high as they can. So again, set themselves up for as high a seeding as they can get. They'll know whether they can get the top seeding based on Leinster's result, but they still want to finish as high as they can, looking into those knockout stages. So their team's looking pretty strong. Hepburn, Cowan, Dickey, Williams front row. I think, was Williams out recently? I think he's back. But Dennis Hill, Ewers, Vermeulen, and Sam Simmons in the back row. His brother's at 10. Interesting, there's no Nick White this week. So it'll be interesting to see how they go without him, because he's a pretty key cog in that Exeter team. Hill, Witten, Knoll, Woodburn, and Hogg is at 15. So they're not taking their foot off the gas, Exeter. They want to go out here and finish the group stages with a win. La Rochelle, Murvalu's playing, like I mentioned. Rates is at fullback. Dumaru. West is playing. He gets another run at 10. There's no Kurbalo this week, and he was on fire in that last game. So Tamani's there. Aldreet. So it's a stronger team that you might have than you might have expected them to throw out. But yeah, we'll see what kind of result they can push through. Exeter are going to be huge favourites. Rugby forecast by 16, bookies by 24. 9 changes for La Rochelle, so yeah, but there's still enough big guns in there to make that one interesting. And the final one, which is Sale Sharks up against Glasgow Warriors. That one, the pressure's on Glasgow much like the way it's on Northampton, because their fate is out of their own hands. But they need to go and really do a job to Glasgow. Glasgow will be hoping that Northampton don't win, because I think Glasgow need like Gloucester, Northampton, Saracens, either all to lose or at least 2 of them to lose. Otherwise, they've got no chance no matter what their own result is. So Glasgow need a bonus point win. It's that loss at home to La Rochelle, which was really the killer, but all they can do is do their bit. Sale, bottom of their pool, 1 win, 4 losses. Their squad also kind of looks like it's got its eyes on the Premiership. But that being said, you got the Curry brothers there, 6 and 7. I think McGinty's out for the season, right? He hurt himself pretty badly recently, so that's a pity. But Curtis is at 10. Yard's still playing. Solomon is on the other wing. Yeah. I look at the Glasgow squad and think they are here to try and get that bonus point win. Seuli, Brown, Ferguson, front row, Cummings, Gray, second row, Nakarawa is back and he's playing. So that's a good reason to watch this game, if not just for the permutations of the pool. Gordon and Wilson finish out the back row. Price and Hastings 9 and 10. Van der Merwe and Stainer on the wings. Bryce is at fullback, and Johnson and Jones is a very capable looking midfield. So, yeah, there's no Seymour. And like I said, basically Glasgow need a bonus point. So they need to come out all guns blazing. I'm not sure what the weather forecast is like in Sale, but I'm sure they would like a bit of dry weather, would Glasgow. Rugby forecast has got Sale by 5, but again, I think the bookies are the ones looking maybe more at the lineup, saying Glasgow by 6, so there's a bit of division there. In terms of the timing of these games for here in New Zealand, I got 2 o'clock in the morning for these two, 4:15 in the morning for these two, and then I think 6:30. So I should be able to watch these two. I'll probably mainly be focusing on this Glasgow game. And then I may, if I can get to bed early enough, get up at 4:15 to see if I can watch these two live. So wish me luck, guys. 6 games on. But yeah, we're getting to the business end of the tournament after this round. 6 Nations is not too far away. Super Rugby is not too far away. There's rugby all around, man. There was no rugby on yesterday for me, and I sat there watching Super Rugby preseason. Unbelievable, isn't it? Anyway, should have played video games or something different. But anyway, yeah, it was a good game. Some props had some pretty good hands, which was nice to see. And it was raining. It was in Australia, and they've had the bushfires, so it was one of the few times when it's raining in a game and you kind of think, awesome, that's a good thing. But yeah, 18 minutes. I better go, guys. You guys let me know your thoughts on these games. Which ones do you think you'll be watching? Players you're looking out for? How do you think these results are going to go? Are you backing all the teams who got things to play for to get results? Or do you pick any of these kind of much changed lineups for the other teams to upset? And also, again, cheers to Kobe and to Tim for the Bath flags. I will decide what I'm going to do with those pretty shortly. But yeah, cheers guys. I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.